Break Brad.
That was it. Did you notice how weird that was? You'd say you want to be an animal when you grow up. It was difficult. As a kid, you need that stability in life. Do you remember at school? You'd do those random days where you do that dancing shit.
How did wrestling come about?
You build a bond, you build a relationship, and then one day you're like, this person's pretty fucking cool.
I'm blushing, I'm alright.
We made it feel real.
Is the retirement gonna end?
I don't know.
Controversial take, just gonna say it. That might get me a bit of heat, but I think it's the truth that...
Yari, lads and lasses, welcome to the Breaking Brad podcast. I am your host, Brad, and I am joined in the first ever episode by my good buddy, my best friend of 14 years, Travis. Now, of course, in today's episode, we will be breaking down, well, in the name, me. Ladies, gents, and bees, let's get down to business, as they say in the Mulan movie. So if y'all want to know me, this man's got the questions, and I have got the answers. So ladies, gents, and bees, let's get down to it. Travis, take it away, my friend.
And just before we start the episode, I'd just like to say a couple things. First thing is, yes, as you've probably seen from the credits and stuff, the intro, Richard will also be joining us, Mix Richard Knights. They're not here, unfortunately, for today, so the first one is going to be me and Bradley, but they will be here. They are a co-host on this Breaking Brad podcast, and you can also follow the Breaking Brad podcast on your favourite social media platforms. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. No, we haven't got Twitter, and it's also called X. We're not using it because Elon Musk, you can go do one. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, and we've got YouTube, all at Breaking Brad Pod. And listen to us and give us a 5-star rating or a review, wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. But with that said, first episode of Breaking Brad, let's break Brad. First question is, when you were little and you're just a little wee nipper, what were your key ambitions in life? Like, did you have any kind of dream job roles or something like that? Like when you're a little tyke in nappies and such, was there ever something that really stood out to you as something that you wanted to do before you kind of found social media and all of this?
Honestly, no, I really cannot think. It's just the usual thing when you're a kid. Oh, I want to be a policeman. Oh, I want to be a fireman. Oh, I want to be a doctor. Or sometimes, weirdly enough, when you're a kid, you also wanted to be a tiger or a lion or something. That was it. Did you notice how weird that was? Sometimes you'd say you want to be an animal when you grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up? To me, I want to be a giraffe, mother. Just, your prototypical kid stuff, watching Bob the Builder or Fireman Sam or Thomas the Tank Engine, what have you. And, it's just the typical child-like ambitions of, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a fireman or a doctor when I got... Mine was mainly a policeman.
I know that because we've known each other for a while and stuff, and obviously being friends, there's been lots of periods where you've moved away and stuff. And obviously, because I've known you that long, I've known that's kind of been something that's always been in your life. How was being a kid and like moving like quite frequently from like town to town? First part, how was like moving about a lot? And how did that kind of affect, like, the relationships, sort of like friends and stuff like that along the way?
Two-parter, I love that. It was difficult. As a kid, you need that stability in life. Whereas, unfortunately, being from the broken home, my parents were divorced at the time. Yeah, so we'd move around quite locally in the area, move from school to school, Lingbob, Mount Pelham, Ash Green, bloody, all this sort of stuff. Moved all the way down south to friggin' Great Yarmouth at one point. Moved back home to Halifax, moved over to Blackpool. And again, it's really hard to form those relationships and those friendships and those bonds. It's a necessity, especially when you're a kid. You need to form those relationships and those bonds. It's what helps you grow. It's what helps you learn. So again, I was here and there and everywhere, so it's quite difficult.
No, it's not the best really. Like, I moved a couple of schools. We'll probably talk about it and get to know me, but just briefly, like, I moved through a bit different reasons really. I moved schools. I kind of always had that hub of like my house, and the area around it was always the same. The people, the kids that I grew up with into obviously teenager and adult life, they was always there. So I can understand the gist of how that would be very hard to be like, oh, hi, you're my new little best mate at 5-year-old Timmy. Oh, wait, I'm moving schools now, Timmy. I'm never going to see you again. How do you recall, like, your school years in general? Like, what kind of a student was you? Was you kind of the class clown or the nerdy one, or what was? Because we only really known each other outside of school because
Yeah.
we never went to the same school. We were only friends outside, really only friends on the weekends because
Yeah.
I'd live at my sister's and then come to my dad's. What was kind of your school etiquette?
I was very much the class clown slash rat pack sort of kid. I'd want to try and make everyone laugh because I wanted everyone to like me, and I don't really know. That's more unresolved stuff. I feel like I'm probably maybe like undiagnosed ADHD or something because like I never really had all that much of an attention span. I'll be honest, I did dog shit in school. I'm not all that smart. I'm not very learned, I've never paid all that much attention, which I regret. That's definitely one of my biggest regrets in life. I'm not diagnosing myself, by the way, if anyone's watching and listening and like, oh, I can't believe he's just said he's ADHD or whatever. But he's not even being diagnosed. I'm not saying I am. But at some point, got to get that checked out and see what's wrong up in here other than everything else. But yeah, no, I never really paid attention in school. I was very much like the ratty rat pack kid, I didn't have the coolest new tech. I didn't have the flashy cool shoes. I wasn't very much for paying attention and stuff either, so it's kind of my own fault.
So, for the audio listeners, just lean back. Being at work, my back's killing. I just need to treat myself, you know what I mean? But we carry on, we soldier on. What would you say was like your favourite subject, or like the thing that kind of, even if you was kind of a bit disruptive or a bit jokey at school, which kind of subject was the one that was like, right, everybody shut the fuck up, I'm learning right now?
IT, or ICT, as we call it in school, or food tech. In ICT, the teacher would let us just put our earphones in and listen to music whilst we were doing stuff. I didn't mind PE, and I didn't mind music. Do you remember at school, for the bloody PE, sometimes you'd do those random days where you'd do that dancing shit? Oh, we're going to do
Yeah.
dance today. It's like,
Is it, are we talking like primary school or high school?
in
Because
high
I remember
school,
in high school it was like Christmas dancing every
oh,
December, and you had to pick, you literally, it was like, oh, you have the privilege of picking a partner to dance with. Oh yeah, I'm going through puberty. I'm already awkward talking to girls, and you want me to go up to one girl and say, oi, do you want to dance with me in PE?
Like, we're doing PE. Why are you wanting us to just dance around the fucking hall, mate? I want to go kick a ball or some shit. That's not very physical education. That's more make yourself look like a twat.
What about sports day? What was your expertise? Mine was shot put personally.
I was good at the what do you call it when you're running and then you pass out the stick thing.
Oh, the baton
Yeah, pass
thing.
the baton thing. Yeah, and that was before I was out of shape. I was quite good at that.
I was wondering when you was talking. I was wondering when you was talking about food tech. Were you on about making the food or eating the food? Because there's a difference. What was home life like? Because we talked about school life, but like home life obviously contributes to kind of who you become as you grow up and stuff. So what was that? What was that like?
Oh my god, how in depth do you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go in it as in depth as you want, but if you spend an hour and a half on this question, this podcast is never going to get released. So
Unfortunately, my mother would see herself get with people that weren't all that good to her and myself and my brother. Yeah, she did, as all mothers do, she did the best she could for what she had. Unfortunately, at that time, she wasn't in contact with my grandparents at the time because my grandparents weren't particularly big fans of my father. And so when she chose to go live with him, our contact was cut essentially for the longest time. So there was the first person, I'm not going to name names, but he was not a nice man. I found out that he was on the register. Not that he did anything to me, by the way, I just want to point that out. Then there was the second guy. He was a bit, yeah, as well. My mom got with the one that you came into my life with. He was nice enough, but It just wasn't marriage material. It was a bit useless. This was when I was like 11, 12, and I was just a very angry kid with no explanation. And then it was in the time of like, all right, Brad, you need to go decide what high school you're going to go to. And again, we're still living in Yarmouth at this point. And then again, I was just being, I was coming up to my teenage years. I was getting worse, if you will. And stupidly, I said, all right, then I'm just going to go moving with my dad. And she didn't stop me. It's on two ends, because of course I got my whole life with my mum and whole life with sperm donor.
It was
So,
kind of just like a constant
yeah,
unknown, wasn't
yeah.
it, really? How did wrestling come about? Because for people that don't know, that's like one of your biggest interests. Like, who did it come from, and what's kind of the earliest memory of professional wrestling?
The wrestling side of things, as far as I'm aware, it came from my mum. The earliest memory I remember is I remember watching. There was a segment with DX, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and they were in the ring with Sergeant Slaughter. They had these like weird visor things on over their heads, and they had like these little window screen wiper things on. It's always been the one constant form of release whenever I'm sad. Watch wrestling. Whenever I'm bored, watch wrestling. Happy, watch wrestling. Depressed, watch wrestling. So yeah, it's always been the one constant in my life as wrestling. So yeah, and my favourite wrestler of all time, my number one wrestler of all
I was
time,
just about to ask that, yeah.
it's gotta be the Heartbreak Kid. It's gotta be Shawn Michaels. Never won bad match. And we don't talk about a certain one. But then again, let's just say he was the only decent shining light in that match. But yeah, never won bad match from Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Saudi money, brother. My personal opinion on Shawn Michaels is he's good and I respect him, but
don't you
don't want
dare
to say
say
he's
he's over. Don't you dare
no,
say he's over.
I don't want to say he's overrated, but
He's not.
he doesn't click with me like he does with other people. I get it, I get the hype. He's had banging matches, like SummerSlam 2002 when he returned. Get him and Triple H in the no DQ match, no holds barred, whatever it was. Always switches in my mind between 25 and 26 at WrestleMania. Him and Undertaker, two absolute banging matches, and I believe that his 2002 reign till like when he retired. After that, that was his better run from like wherever it was when he retired in like 97 or wherever it was. I feel like that period's always been Shawn Michaels of Born Again Christian, finding yourself, and apart from the DX reunion was a bit naff, and the match against God was just unnecessarily unnecessarily offensive for no reason. No matter what your religious belief is, it's just weird. I respect people that say he's the favourite, but my personal take is that, I don't know, he's kind of verging on overrated a little bit, but at the same time, there's so much that's been influenced by him.
There's no person other than you that will say Shawn Michaels is overrated. He's rated perfectly.
I'll die on that hill.
You can die on that hill, and you can die alone, you sad little mother.
If you want to hear it, by the way, we'll probably at some point do like a wrestling hot takes or something, because as much as we don't want to make this all about wrestling, our lives are surrounded by it. We'll get past all that, because I've got more questions about it later. Then obviously comes to the point where me and you cross paths, and it starts our humble beginnings. What transpired from us meeting, because we ended up doing a lot of stuff, like there was a theme park YouTube channel, a wrestling YouTube channel, and it all kick-started from basically our friendship. For people that don't know, obviously, you're now a podcaster, but you were also, and still are really, YouTube, not influencer, but you're a YouTuber, So take us on that journey.
So of course we met in 2009. I got you into wrestling, and then we did a little what they call backyard wrestling, jumping around on his trampoline until we broke it, the poor fucker.
Two trampolines were broke. Technically three, but we move.
God, I'd love to see us on a trampoline now. That would be fun, wouldn't it? We start the whole YouTube thing, the Judah Blair Global Amusement Attractions channel, where we'd visit theme parks and attractions and what have you. Global Amusement Attractions, if you want to go over and subscribe and follow us on our socials, everything will be linked down below. Something will pop up on the screen or whatever. And then, of course, we just got on with the wrestling. You went to uni, I stayed home and, just, stayed between jobs and college, met Lauren, got engaged to Lauren.
How mad do you think it is that from that point when you were kind of kids and you were just kind of mates to then kind of develop this thing with Lauren to the point where it's become a relationship like so many years later, and now an engagement, if you want it, put a ring on it, and Bradley did.
To revert back to being a kid and that, again, I never really had that stability in those bonds and whatever, so I never really thought I'd have friends. And I certainly never thought I'd have someone like Lauren. I'm sure we'll get her on at some point and we can talk about our little, whatever.
Fucking hell, that's brave.
Boy, David.
She'll probably just get bullied. She'll probably just get bullied for like an hour or whatever, but...
Have you seen her? She's used to being bullied. Oh.
Nah. We love you really, Lauren.
Being friends, never really seeing her like that. She knows this, I can say this.
Because Bradley was fancying a friend! It's true though, it's facts. Let's not deny it, it's facts. We're not naming names, but before Lauren, the friend was a thing.
Yeah, no, it's just really nice. After all these years of not speaking either, she had me on Facebook and shit, Snapchat. But we just never spoke. It was just one of those, like, oh, my lad, just see what we're up to in each other's lives. And we never really spoken. I don't even remember what it was. We just randomly started talking a lot. It was that thing of you get to know someone, you talk to someone, and then, you just build a rapport, you build a bond, you build a relationship, and then one day you're like, this person's pretty fucking cool. I like this person. Really lucky to have her, because she's literally saved my life. She is just truly perfect in every sense of the word.
So getting romantic on the Breaking Brad podcast. Can't even say it, I'm so flustered. Oh, I'm blushing, I'm alright. So, I guess the final thing I'm going to ask, really, is let's have a little talk about, might be a bit deep, but it's also a bit exciting. April 29th, 2023. Very big event. I was the president of Wrestling Appreciation Society, and I rang up Brad one day and I said, we're going to do a live wrestling show, the first ever time on our uni campus. We're going to raise money for Cancer Research UK, and I want you to be my very first opponent. Now, technically, that didn't necessarily happen because I had a match before that, but it was a gauntlet match, so we're going to scrap that. So my first ever one-on-one match was going to be best friend versus best friend. What did that feel like at the time when that first happened? And how did it feel to kind of build that story and work alongside each other? And despite what happened afterwards, or well, in the ring, what did it feel like to kind of have that, especially with, the past of us two wrestling on trampolines and all of this nonsense?
It was a fucking dream. Just getting to do that, getting to build that program was really exciting. It was quite a unique setting as well. The story was unique. We had a long-standing friendship. We made it feel real because, that's what you need to do to make it real. It needs to be real. So, in a sense of Bradley and Trav, it was real, but in a sense of Kyle and Donnie, it wasn't. But
yeah, in the sense of like Donnie and Kyle, the friendship was dead, but in real life it was like blossoming.
Yeah.
Well, not even blossoming. It was already fully established, but it was just continuing.
So no, to build that story, to build that foundation, make it the biggest story of that event and that company at the time was really, really cool.
Which it was. Not gonna lie, it was the most thought out, the most planned. Even after our match, what it led to in the end, my heel turn and stuff, it was the most thought out thing because really, the feud of me and you was kind of the catalyst of me and Matt, really.
Yeah.
There was a very clear heel and face dynamic
Oh,
And
yeah.
the first match of the card, that crowd was
They were on
ecstatic.
fire.
They loved me and they hated the shit out of Bradley. It was just absolutely juicy pops going on in
Well,
that match.
whilst it lasted, it was beautiful. It was everything we dreamed of, or I dreamed of, for those first 5-6 minutes.
The fact that what happened afterwards with obviously the arm injury and stuff, the fact that these people were genuinely asking after the show, is he actually hurt or was that a part of the story that he just beat him up that much that he broke his arm? It's a testament to what we did, really.
Oh, yeah.
That people that had never seen wrestling were like, holy shit, Donny Franchise has beat Kyle Kennedy up so much that his arms broke. And they thought it was a story. I just thought it was ace. I thought it was ace, I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't think of anyone to have a introduction into wrestling or first program to do it with, really. And I mean, especially where you was in like NSAW and stuff at the time, and obviously the whole Mr. Sports Wire stuff with Tom Bryce, and really at the peak of being the biggest arsehole in NSAW, just ain't afraid to speak his mind, which, to be fair, is it a character? It's blurring a line at the minute.
I had family and friends genuinely saying, like, do you guys not like each other anymore?
It was brilliant. It was so good. And it's a testament to us, really. And at the end of the day, controversial take, just gonna say it. I think Deadline was, when it comes to a lot of the people that work that show, it was probably the biggest show they've ever done. And to say that it was in front of, people that didn't even watch wrestling or engage as a wrestling fan is a very big thing, and that might get me a bit of heat, but I think it's the truth that a lot of those people have not performed in front of 100 odd people we had on the night. Just to have me and you be the beginning of that, the start of that, is something I think I'm going to treasure forever, really.
Same.
Also, I mean, while we're recording this, I just do want to say a big congrats to Gareth Angel, sound bloke, for the Widdicombe and Kumar show that he's just done as well.
Yeah,
That's a very big. It's a pretty big feat for local wrestling, especially from the next town over as well. It's mad, and yeah, just well done for him for getting his message across and stuff like that. I'm saying that Deadline is big, but that is pretty fucking big to be on Sky as well. So,
Sure.
and be on Cultaholic and stuff, getting interviewed by Tom Campbell and all of that. So, respect Gareth for that. Absolute smashed it there, mate. So, if you are listening to this, big props to you, fella. In regards to wrestling, once your arm gets better, is the retirement gonna end? Ooh.
I don't know. Would I love to do it? Yes. On the selfish side of me, the only thing that would bring me back is if I can finish what we started. I wouldn't want to come back and just jump into a random show or random whatever. Of course, I'm going to take the bookings if and when I need. I'd only feel right if we pick up where we left off. I'm not doing this to be like, as soon as I get back in there, Sammy and whoever else is running the WAS committee, book me and Travis. Fucking do it. Okay, I'm not doing that to do that. Would it be cool? Yes. Would I want that? Yes. But I'm not saying this to make that happen. If it happens, it happens. But again, if I can get back in the ring, the first thing I'm doing is finishing what we started, because I feel, and you know this, I've said this, I've fucking cried so much about it, and I'm sick of it. I feel so much resentment for how that ended. It's not my fault, it's not your fault, it's no one's fault. Because it's wrestling. I can't even bring myself to watch my vlog. I can't watch that match. I've not watched anything to do with it. It was a struggle to watch the WIS Deadline itself, but I wanted to show appreciation because you all gave me that platform. But again, the only thing that would bring me back into the ring, if and when I'm ready and the doctor says, yes, you can go, is to finish off our story. But now, for this first ever episode, I wouldn't have wanted anyone else other than Travis. So, my brother, I love you, man, and thank you so much for being the first guest and getting everything out there. Wouldn't have imagined and wouldn't have had it any other way, my man, so thank you. I'm your host, Bradley. That was my good friend and co-host, Travis. And now that we've broken up and this whole eggshell, we're about to go running full steam ahead.
Rate us on Spotify, rate us on iTunes, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Breaking Brad Pod.
Well, he said that's how I was going to end it. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Take care of yourselves and take care of your loved ones. We'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra! See you in a bit, kid.